Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Impact Money Show, where we delve into the economic narratives behind the headlines. This week, we're witnessing a historic chapter in Washington, D.C., blanketed not just in snow, but in the weight of the pivotal events. D.C. inaugural week is almost here, bringing with it a political and cultural spectacle that will be talked about for generations. Looks like my feed on X is a little funny this morning. Let me just drop another link in for everybody. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's funny. Let me just make sure it is working on computer. It's just mobile. That's not working on here. Not auto loading. Let me just drop this here for everybody. See if that helps. Boom. At the heart of the events here in D.C. is the second inauguration of Donald Trump, a rare moment in American history, echoing only Grover Cleveland's non-consecutive terms. Trump is the only president besides Grover Cleveland to ever be elected as president, not win the next election, and then get elected again. So I've talked about it a couple of different times. I mean, I knew that at the last inauguration of Donald Trump, gosh, this was such a historic event. And then this one is even more. It really is pretty crazy. Of course, the event is coinciding with the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., which is January 20th. It carries a symbolic heft, putting together the themes of unity, civil rights, and political division. My wife asked me, she said, how in the world are they going to have the inauguration on Martin Luther King Jr. Day? It just doesn't seem to make much sense. I said, I don't know. And then we looked, and of course, it is his actual birthday. It was Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Among the inaugural festivities, the Bitcoin inaugural ball stands out. That will be on the 19th, celebrating Bitcoin's unprecedented climb past $100,000. It's now trading at 101,400. After a slight retracement, it had gone up to just a whisker under 103,000. This isn't just a milestone for cryptocurrency enthusiasts. It's a potential turning point for global finance. The implications of this surge extend beyond immediate gains, potentially influencing monetary policy, regulatory environments, and the democratization of wealth through digital assets. We saw, of course, Trump embrace the crypto bros, the crypto community, and promise all types of different things. I mean, we'll see how it all rolls out. We do have it's most pro-crypto administration we've ever seen. Of course, Bitcoin's only been around. We just celebrated the 16th year anniversary of Bitcoin a couple days ago. It's only been around for a little while. However, this time is marked by Trump's controversial pledge, to issue over 1,000 pardons to individuals, to the hostages that were involved in the January 6th events in 2021. This decision stirs a profound discussion. We all saw what happened with this January 6th committee. Those people are the ones I think who should be held accountable. January 6th was a mostly peaceful protest. Mostly peaceful protest. Remember how they used to call the Black Lives Matter mostly peaceful protests? I don't know if those were mostly peaceful or not. I'm not saying they weren't. But January 6, 2021 was a mostly peaceful protest. That was a mostly peaceful protest. This move by Trump, of course, to pardon the January 6ers is expected. And I think he did promise actually to do it. I think he did promise to do it. It could redefine the narrative around political dissent, the rule of law, and public faith in our institutions. You had this January 6th committee was an absolute disaster. I think that those people are going to need pardons. We'll have to see how it all rolls out. I think it will be good for the country if these people are held accountable. You know, they deleted all kinds of footage. They lied, did all kinds of stuff. And a lot of these people have sat in jail for years. You have young fathers, he hasn't been able to see their kids in years. You have grandma sitting in jail, rotting away. People have not even had trials. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's political prisoners that we've had in this country. It's unbelievable, really. It's just absolutely unbelievable. In the realm of technology, the CES 2025 has been a showcase for groundbreaking AI and robotics. Roborock's Saros Z70 introduces a mechanical arm to home automation, potentially changing how we interact with our living spaces. RickTech Robotics is pushing the envelope with AI-enhanced service robots for various industries. From hospitality to healthcare, from hospitality to healthcare. NVIDIA's Project Digits aims to put the power of AI development into more hands, possibly shifting the landscape of technological innovation away from cloud dependency. CES has always been a really amazing event. My wife and I, we had we still do it sometimes, but not as much. We used to do a lot of trade show staffing, staff pretty girls, promotional models for trade shows, a lot in our early years, really before Bitcoin was so darn valuable. It was pretty life-changing, but we used to do that a lot. CES was one of the shows that we would do, and I mean, amazing technology that comes out of this event. CES 2025 going on right now. I think even the great Elon Musk put out he might have been given a keynote at it. I'm not sure. Big event, Las Vegas, a lot of fun. Always hard for me to get to. These early January events. Those are rough. Those are rough events. Trust me. I've thrown events around the world. That early January, that's a rough time. Yet these advancements bring significant ethical, privacy, and regulatory challenges. This is the AI advancement. The backlash against Meta's AI-generated profile on social media platforms has ignited debates over authenticity, misinformation, and the ethical use of AI. It just seems so, I mean, you guys probably get it too. I get these, all these every day. I get messages. And it's so funny. It's like usually the girl sends a picture and it's obviously some AI generated, usually an Asian girl, AI generated photo. And it's just funny. And, you're just dealing with AI. And it's really interesting. I suppose it's been going on for a long time. But it's pretty wild. The rise of AI in content creation, from deep fakes to virtual companions, challenges our understanding of reality, privacy, and the job market. The need for frameworks like the EU AI Act has never been more apparent as we navigate this new digital frontier. Back to weather. A major winter storm has swept across the U.S., creating hazardous conditions from the Midwest to the Atlantic, with implications for transportation, energy infrastructure, and local economies. This event underscores the economic vulnerabilities to climate and weather events, emphasizing the need for resilient infrastructure and emergency preparedness. Let me just check on my main man here. We are live, folks. We are live. We're live. On the health front, we are facing a norovirus surge alongside the U.S. death from bird flu in Louisiana, highlighting the ongoing political health challenges. Of course, I think most of you are just like me, and that is, we're not doing this again. That's it. We are not doing this again. You fool me once, you don't fool me twice. That's it. We're not doing it again. Take your mask, shove them. Take your quarantines, shove it. Take your jab, shove that too. It ain't happening, guys. It ain't happening. They're trying, though. They really are trying. Big moneymaker. Huge, massive moneymaker. The FDA's new guidelines on lead in baby food have stirred controversy, questioning whether these measures adequately protect our youngest citizens from harmful contaminants. The Ian Carroll show, he put out a video yesterday, I think it was, talking about how all the stuff in the baby food and everything else, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. In general, his point was, and I have to agree with him, you don't want to be eating food from big corporations. You don't want to be eating that food. You want to be eating, small food. What's happened in this country is, and across the West, really, this corporatism, it's corporate socialism or corporate communism, however you want to call it. But basically, they just took the communism and they are now enforcing it through corporations. It's really kind of a disaster what's happened. We need to push back and fight it. Financially, after a day of positive trading, the Dow Jones closed slightly down yesterday, with futures showing tentative signs of recovery this morning. This comes on the backdrop of a declining Hong Kong Stock Exchange today, as we speak, down more than 0.5%. Reflecting on the broader Asian market concerns, gold and silver continue their upward trend, often seen as a hedge against economic instability or inflation, while oil prices hint at expectations of economic recovery or supply constraints. Internationally, Justin Trudeau's resignation as Canada's Prime Minister has opened a whole new chapter in North American politics, where Trump's provocative comments about Canadian statehood adding a layer of geopolitical intrigue. It is pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, do you think Trump is going to be able to add places like Canada to the United States? Can Canada become the 51st state? I mean, I talked about it yesterday. I think it'd be pretty cool. I mean, I love Canada. I love Montreal. Montreal's awesome. Toronto's cool too, but Montreal's a really special place. I was up in Lake Placid, New York, in my late teens, early 20s for a bit, training at the Olympic Center there. And we used to drive into Montreal. Of course, we were too young to drink. So we would drive into Montreal and have a good time. Pretty French girls in Montreal. I mean, just a fun city. Montreal's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But it is quite interesting that Justin Trudeau has stepped down. I mean, this is a remarkable moment. And do you think he is Fidel Castro's son? I mean, that's pretty interesting too. Do you think that Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son? He looks a lot like him, right? I don't know. It looks to me. But he stepped down. That's very remarkable. Trump has renewed, of course, his calls for them to be the 51st state. The Ukraine-Russia conflict persists, with Ukraine's offensive in the Kursk region and talks of diplomatic solutions involving NATO membership and territorial concessions. The ongoing war has economic ramifications far beyond its borders, affecting global food supplies, energy markets, and international relations. Putin has repeatedly said that NATO is the line in the sand. There's been a lot of different things that were promised and deals that were made over Ukraine. One of them is, of course, going back many years from before, is that when they gave up their nukes, apparently, from what I understand, I wasn't old enough to really be paying that much attention, we told them that we would protect them. Give up your nukes, the United States says, and we will protect you. The United States is a rough country to make deals with like that, because we have a new president every 4 to 8 years, a new administration. It's one of the reasons why the deep state or the administrative state stays in control so long. because it's hard to run a country these days when you're switching it up so much like that. It just is. I mean, that's just the facts of the situation. Of course, the other part is that there's supposed to be some deal that, of course, Ukraine will not join NATO. NATO was not supposed to continue to grow like that. That's my understanding. In the Middle East, the Israel-Hamas ceasefire talks face hurdles, of course, place of perpetual conflict, the Middle East. New conditions are complicating the peace efforts. Tensions involving Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis continue to influence regional stability, oil markets with potential impacts on global prices and security. Of course, Syria has fallen into the hands of, from what appears, pretty radical dudes with the help of the United States and Israel. Pretty interesting situation that we have there. As well, Elon put out a post yesterday talking about how, or highlighting the fact that I think we'd given $80 million or $40 million. The United States had given $80 million or $40 million to the Taliban. And I actually responded to that post and I said, yeah, it looks like they're using that money to attack Pakistan. I think that was part of the plan. Have you guys asked Grok what your score is? I asked Grok what my score is. I said, Grok, what's my Grok score? Everybody was talking about it online. I got a 92. A 92 on my Grok score. I was pretty happy about that, I guess. My Grok score is 92. China's assertion that the reunification with Taiwan is unstoppable. It's unstoppable. This adds tension to the Asian geopolitics with implications for trade, technology, and international alliances. Do you think that we're going to have a reunification with Taiwan and China like we had with Hong Kong? Do you think that's what's going to happen? Pretty interesting. I have not been to Hong Kong. I will be in Hong Kong next month for Consensus, as you may know. But I have not been to Hong Kong yet. I have been to Taiwan. Those Taiwanese, man, they're not too fond of China right now. They're not too fond of China. Environmentally, the aftermath of Hurricane Milton and Helene serves as a reminder of the economic cost of climate change. I think that should be actually climate manipulation, probably. While the discovery of new species in 2024 by the scientific community highlights the importance of biodiversity in our economic and ecological systems. And in personal news, as we reflect on the passing of former President Jimmy Carter, his legacy of peace, human rights, and economic development continues to inspire. The global New Year's Eve celebrations from Sydney to New York not only marked the passage of time, but also underscored the economic significance of tourism, culture, and global connectivity. I have with me here, of course, the market report from the great Matt Dixon. Let me just pop that right over here. Boom. Boom. All right, there we go. Stay with us on the Impact Money Show as we explore these stories connecting the dots between technology, policy, economics, and human narratives. Stay tuned for these events. Are not just headlines. They're the threads weaving our future and the economic tapestry of our time. I have with me here a recorded Market Watch report from the great Matt Dixon. I use the power of technology to upload that right here. And here we go, Matt Dixon.
Good morning, Bruce. Morning, Impact Money viewers. We've got a lot to go through today. I'm still putting together data for a really comprehensive presentation about the economic outlook for 2025. Obviously, there's been a lot going on. There's a lot of movement with the economy. There's an awful lot going on geopolitically and, even politically alone with Trump and all around the world, really. There's been some big changes and big moves. So there's a lot to talk about. And I am putting together, as I say, and collating a lot of statistics to try to put together a coherent presentation to support what I expect for 2025. So sorry it's a little bit late in coming, but I do plan to do that this week. So we'll just go through the usual charts, but it's gone pretty well according to expectation. If you remember, I talked about, it looked as though dollar index had potentially taken a turn for the downside. And we discussed at length where we said that there's a correlation between Bitcoin, there has been a correlation between Bitcoin and dollar index over, well, since Bitcoin was established back in 2009. So 15 years now. So we've seen a gradual rise. From that low, we had basically the financial crisis of 2008, the world financial crash 2008, and the dollar has been rising since then. Dollar index has been rising since then, and so has Bitcoin, of course, from the very beginnings of just a matter of cents to a peak of 108,000, and we're currently at 101,000. I posted on X yesterday that there's a potential turning point somewhere around 103,000. For a short-term turn to the downside. Now, just to be clear, I am still optimistic about these crypto assets and most assets in general. I'm still optimistic. I think we're going to reach new all-time highs, but I think there's going to be some headwinds in the short term. And I explained that again, I think it was yesterday, about how I think there's some geopolitical issues coming to the fore, probably before Trump is actually inaugurated on January 20th. So we're now only a couple of weeks away from there. And I do know that people want to get things done before Trump gets into power. I know Trump wants to hit the ground running with these peace initiatives, that he's looking at Ukraine, Russia, he's looking at the Middle East. And also I mentioned yesterday about these laser weapon, defense weapons, call them weapons, but laser defense of Israel, that they're basically going to be rolling them out very, very soon. And I think that anybody who wants to take a poke at Israel want to do it before that happens, because that will give Israel much greater defense at much, much lower cost. If you remember, we said at the moment it costs about $30,000 with this Iron Dome to shoot down each missile that is fired into Israel. This cost will come down to as little as perhaps $13 with the laser defense system. So, as I say, I think people want to take their shot at Israel before that happens, and also before Trump comes into power, because Trump will, really want to take the bull by the horns and, push through. He promised peace, that he can bring about peace quickly. I'm sure he'll put everything into that. And so people want to do what they want to do before that happens. So, as I say, it looks like dollar index has turned down potentially. We had some time ago, back in September, I think it was, that we started to see a bit of a push up in dollar index. This has gone against what a lot of people expected. It's not gone against what we expected. I think we've been very much on point with the dollar at every turn. And we had here some hidden bullish divergence, which told us the price of the dollar was going to appreciate, and exactly what it did. Now, right now, we do actually have some bearish divergence. If you look at this, you can see rising dollar, and we can see actually falling RSI here, falling RSI peaks. So that basically tells you now of regular bearish divergence. So we had a hidden bullish divergence signal here, told us dollar was going to appreciate. Now, I haven't drawn it in, but you can actually see it reasonably clearly that the RSI peaks are falling and that the price peaks are rising. So that's divergence, and that's what's called regular bearish divergence. That's telling you dollar's going to turn down, precisely what's happening. So quite amazing when you put these signals together and you combine them with the fundamentals of what's going on in the market. It's absolutely amazing and quite predictive. And so you can position, again, you look at correlations between things. So like, as I say, dollar, Bitcoin, there's quite a good correlation there. So it told you that Bitcoin may be about to peak around this level. And let's jump straight over to Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin. We can see that we had the peak here at 108,000. We turned down a bit. We did push up. This is daily. I think we had what's called an ending diagonal here. Now, ending diagonal will be a wave 5 of this cycle, but it's actually within a larger cycle, wave 3. So wave 3 is made up itself of 5 waves. somehow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 4 here, and then fifth wave here, making up a larger wave 3. So I think that we're due to have this wave 4. So we could have completed it here because we've got 3 waves here. It could be complete, and we could push straight to all-time highs again. That is on the cards. So some people say, oh, this is terrible. It's not predictive. You're not telling us where the market's definitely going to go. Let me just say, nobody can tell you with absolute accuracy where the market's going to go. A trader looks at probabilities, and we need to trade these probabilities. But there's lots of possibilities, and each of those possibilities has a probability assigned to it. So there's no certainty. As I say, this could be ABC down complete, and we could be pushing to new all-time highs, or it could be part of a larger correction, ABC making up an A wave, and then we have some kind of corrective move up for a B wave, and then a final push down for a C wave. That at the moment is my preferred option. And as I said, we're actually in a bit of no man's land right now. So you can see the peak at 108, you can see the trough here at 90,000. So we're right, but very, very close to the middle of that range. Why would you trade right in the middle of a range when the risk of upside is the same as risk of downside? There are a couple of options there. Why would you trade it? So there are times you need to get your powder dry and not just jump in because you're desperate to do a trade. If you miss out, if it goes to all-time highs, don't worry, there are always other opportunities. Markets do not go in a straight line. We can see that throughout the whole history of any market pretty well, that there will be pullbacks, and it's actually the pullbacks that you need to buy that have good risk-reward structure that you can then look to buy the dips. So that's what we'll look to do. We'll see if there's a downturn. If there isn't, we've missed a trade. So what? But if there is a downturn, a further downturn, so ABC down for an A wave, some kind of ABC up for a B wave, and then maybe 5 waves down for a C wave.
And then just to tell you guys, as we're talking here, as this is going on, Bitcoin has just declined to 101,000. Of course, it was almost at 103 at the height of all this, and that is this up and down that you're talking about. You don't want to buy 1,000, 3,000, guys, and then have it dip, or maybe you do, depending on what your strategy is. But if you're trading, all right, anyway, go
ahead. That would be the time for me. If that happens, that would be the time to jump in.
That back just a little bit.
Buy that have good risk-reward structure that you can then look to buy the dips. So that's what we'll look to do. We'll see if there's a downturn. If there isn't, we've missed a trade. So what? But if there is a downturn, a further downturn, so ABC down for an A wave, some kind of ABC up for a B wave, and then maybe 5 waves down for a C wave, that would be the time for me. If that happens, that would be the time to jump in and buy Bitcoin again. So, but if it does push to new all-time highs again, yes, you might have missed that trade. But if you've been holding from much lower, you may still want to hold on to that and be, if you're a long-term hodler with Bitcoin, fine. But as I say, the risk is for potential bit of dollar weakness coming now. I looked at the dollar, and it did look as though we're there or thereabouts, ready for a turn down on the US dollar. And it's kind of counterintuitive. I mean, we know that the interest rate decision is this month now for the US dollar, for US interest rates, and the likelihood is they're going to be on hold. But a lot will depend on the commentary, of course. So you think with them being on hold, they're not dropping rates, maybe the dollar will stay strong. But as I say, these things are often counterintuitive. And I think everybody has already factored in the fact that the US interest rates are going to be kept on hold, but it will depend a lot on the future commentary and direction. Don't forget, if the US economy is beginning to weaken, then there'll be a lot of pressure to lower interest rates moving forward. And I do think the US economy is going to weaken. So I'll just jump over to if I've got it here, my Twitter feed, yeah. This is a chart I've shown before, and we'll just show it again. And I'm going to show this along with a lot of other charts about what I'm thinking about the US economy. So this is basically leading indicator, economic contraction, of economic contraction. As I say, from the 1960s, it's been predictive on every single occasion about a US recession coming. So every time we see a dip here, we see the accompanying grey recession. Every single time there's a dip, every single time without fail there's an appreciable dip, we see a recession coming. Now we see an appreciable dip. So I would say most likely recession is coming. So that being the case, US interest rates will need to drop more than people expected. If US interest rates are going to drop more than people expect, then we are going to see the US dollar falling rather than a rise that a lot of people are expecting. So no matter what, no matter what Trump does in office, there are bigger factors at play. And, there's been an awful lot of euphoria and optimism. I don't think that will be carried through all the way. Very often you do see buy the rumor, sell the news, of course. So the rumor is everyone's buying the rumor, the Trump rumor. When it comes to actual reality, I think there'll be a sell the news effect. So when the actual Trump administration gets into power, I think we may see weaker dollar to come, because we're going to see weaker economy no matter what he does. And actually, a lot of his protectionist policies probably aren't necessarily positive for the economy. So we're going to see weaker dollar, and we'd like to see a turn down. But as I say, this is hopefully temporary. I think it's a wave 4 going back to Bitcoin. I think this is just 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and 5 waves down. That will complete the correction. Then we're going to push again to new all-time highs. So I still think that Trump has a lot of positive things to add, even though there's going to be some disappointment. I think this massive peace initiative is going to really carry some weight geopolitically. And that's really one of the biggest drivers of the markets. If people are confident geopolitically, it gives them some confidence that there's going to be good continuity. And, let's hope it translates to higher asset prices and we do see new all-time highs again. That is my expectation at the moment. Now, just moving on to, I'm just wondering where to jump to Solana next. Yeah, I guess we will jump to Solana. Again, this is the daily. I think I did again say, I believe that this is actually one of the most predictive charts there is, in my opinion. The reason it's so predictive, it's got one of those chart formations known as a triangle. And for me, triangle is the most predictive chart pattern that there is. It's a corrective pattern. It's a consolidation pattern. So we've seen a strong down move from the all-time high on Solana from 200 and I'll just shrink the chart a little bit to see it. We can actually see it's been a long, I'll have to shrink it even more. Okay, there we see it. So from the all-time high of 267, 265, whatever it is, somewhere up here, where is it now? 265-ish, somewhere around there. That's round about the all-time high. We've seen strong pullback downwards, but that was corrective. You can see all the overlap, and we're always saying overlapping move, it's corrective, means that the impulsive direction is still to the upside. So based on this, I still expect a new all-time high for Solana. But what we've seen following that down move is a correction, is a consolidation, is a triangle. Now remember what I said, triangles are consolidation patterns. Consolidation means a consolidation of this downward move. It consolidates, but it's not impulsively moved to the upside. So a triangle is a consolidation, and what you normally see after a triangle is a thrust from the triangle. A triangle is known as a pre-terminal move. So within this cycle, we have a large corrective wave down. The triangle is another corrective wave to the sideways, basically. And then we'll get the final move out of the triangle. So the triangle itself is made of an A wave. Then we have a B wave triangle, and then a C wave to finish that move. So that is also an ABC. That's also corrective. So we have corrective down, corrective up. That means we have a further correction to complete the overall correction, I believe, to the downside. And whether we go higher or whether it's already started here, can't be certain. But I think that we have a substantial move to come to the downside. And Solana, for me, is the one that's pointing the direction for all of the assets at the moment. There's going to be decent correlation between these crypto assets for sure. So triangle being pre-terminal, thrust from the triangle is the terminal. That means the last move in this little cycle here, this ABC cycle here. The ABC, by the way, makes up an X wave. So we had an ABC W wave down, ABC X wave higher, and then we should have an ABC Y wave to the downside. So we should move down in 3 waves to the downside. And the downside move should take us probably well below the bottom of this W wave, which was $175. So there's a lot of potential downside to come. And this could happen reasonably quickly. It could happen before January 20th. It's looking so far as though that move has potentially begun. We're seeing a lot of, that's a very bearish looking formation there from the top, this local top here, of all these red candles, looking quite potentially bearish. So let's just keep an eye on that. As I say, it's, it's the most predictive as far as I'm concerned. A triangle, you get a great thrust from the triangle. That's a good predictive move there. But then, as I say, it's the terminal wave, so it's a good predictive move to the downside. So if I'm looking to short anything, this is a good candidate. And the high, well, actually, the high here is probably a good stop loss area, just above $223, so maybe $224. So a lot of potential downside to below here, to below 175. Upside is limited, so I'll put my stop loss just above that upside there. So I could make a loss if price goes up, but the loss will be minimal compared with the potential profit. And the likelihood is, looking at this wave structure, we look as though we're going to see more downside. So that is my expectation for the time being. So we'll leave that one for now. That's, I think you can very clearly see what I'm expecting. We'll move on to Ethereum. Again, Ethereum, we've had probably 3 waves down from the, let's see, is it 3 waves? Hard to say, to be honest, because this could be, this is definitely the peak here. It could be 3 waves, ABC 3 waves, and then we've got ABC 3 waves higher. So again, I think that being the case, I mean, this definitely doesn't look impulsive to the upside, by the way. Now, if this move down, price moves down below one of these peaks, and the peak here is 3,555, so not much lower. If we move down below that, this is clearly corrective, not impulsive, because we would have overlap, then expect more downside. So this looks like an ABC higher. I'm expecting 5 waves down on Ethereum as well. So my expectation is we've had 3 down, 3 up, and probably expect 5 down to take us quite a bit lower potentially on Ethereum. So I'll just go through them step by step. They're not particularly in order. We'll look at gold here. Again, gold is pretty clearly, if you ask me, we've had, I might scroll out, but basically this is a corrective move to the upside. We've already had an overlap of this up move here. This down move has overlapped this. So it doesn't look impulsive at all to me. This is a corrective move to the upside. So I'm expecting more downside for gold. I still expect new all-time highs for gold in the future, but right now there's potential downside, and gold has been reasonably well correlated with other risk assets for the time being. So right now, I think there's maybe some money flowing out of the economies. There's been a massive push up on the Trump rally. I think there needs to be a bit of reaction to that, a bit of profit taking, and a bit of, reality, people coming down to earth, as it were. So I think there's going to be a bit of a pullback. As I say, assets don't move all in one direction. It's a multi-directional. There's always corrections along the way. So I think we're probably going to get some more downside for gold. XRP has continued its amazing run, but we've had a corrective move down, but it also looks probably a corrective move to the upside. A, B, C. It'd be interesting to see if we get a move down, if it goes below this level here. I'm talking about this move up here. If it goes below that peak there, which was 237, and we're now 244, so it's not far away. If we move below there, then again, it will prove to be corrective, most likely. It's not impulsive because we'll have overlap. So if that price moves below the 237, then I do expect XRP even though it's been so powerful, to move down. But again, this looks corrective from the upside. So it looks corrective down. It's still corrective. So I think more correction to the downside. But because it's corrective, I still think the impulsive direction is higher. So I still expect XRP to push higher after the correction is complete. and to challenge its previous all-time high. So very bullish there, but short term, there's big question marks. I'll skip over Jasmy. It's not really gone that far. It's just following the rest of the market, I believe. BMB has been a nice asset, but again, following the market. RLB was an amazing one. It actually had a pullback. I know there's a big hack on the, that's all been resolved. So hopefully that might be an interesting point to jump in again with RLB. I know it's got some amazing revenue generation. So that could be an amazing asset to jump into at these low prices. Sometimes when there's been a sharp pullback for a particular reason, and there's a good reason for this, then it might be time to jump in and take advantage of those lower prices. And that's what I'm always looking for as a trader. I'm looking for buy opportunities, not to chase prices higher, but to buy dips, especially if there's a good reason for a dip. Litecoin, once again, we can see this kind of corrective move, but once again, I'll be looking carefully at prices. We can see the price now is still above here, but if it dips just below this peak here, and that peak is $110, we're currently on $112. If we dip below that, it will confirm this is a corrective move to the upside, so we should move substantially lower again. So we're very close to confirmations of taking short trades, but not just yet. I said we're in no man's land. Particularly Bitcoin, I think we're in no man's land. But if prices dip and they prove that these moves up are corrective, then it will be confirmed once we dip below these previous wave highs, pivot highs. So if we dip below 110 on Litecoin, I think it would be a good time to start thinking about a short position with close protection above, plenty of downside opportunity. Even one of our favorites, Sui, which is one I'd followed, we were actually promoting it a long time ago, saying it's a tremendous asset, and it has proved to be a tremendous asset. If I just focus out longer term, I'll just go to daily on it first of all. The daily, by the way, is where you can see the divergence. We couldn't see it on the 4-hour, but on the daily, we could see very clearly there's a sell signal here where we got higher highs in price, lower highs in corresponding RSI. That told us a regular bearish divergence. It told you basically sell here, and it sold off quite sharply. Seeing a bit of a push up at the moment. Sui is a strong asset. It's probably one of the least favorites for me would be to short, but even so, it's going to be captive to the wider market. So if the market's going down, we've got regular bearish divergence. I still think even Sui will be potentially pushing down. We've got a lot of bearish divergence here. We can see rising prices and lower RSI for a long time now. So I think there's a threat of quite lower prices to come. We'll just touch very briefly on oil. Again, we're seeing it quite buoyant at the moment. I think there's geopolitical risk. We know that Russia supply of gas is being cut off actually to Europe. So that's why oil price is rising. But geopolitical risk will push oil prices potentially much higher. Big problem with that is if we've got much higher oil prices, it means inflation is going to be much higher because everything costs more, transport, etc., heating, everything will be costing a lot more. And we're getting a cold spell. We've got snow across America, we've got snow across Europe, snow across UK. So potentially big demand, so high demand and risk to supply with geopolitical risk and with Russia cutting gas supplies, etc. So the risk is for higher oil. Again, once again, this is another one that we call well in advance. We see, by the way, 3 waves higher, 3 waves lower. So I'm expecting probably a 5-wave push to the upside to take us up here. But I still think that we're probably going to get later on lower oil prices, maybe with that peace, that big peace initiative that I think Trump is talking about, I believe will come to fruition. And I think that could really sink oil prices down. Great for inflation, great for assets. So that's where we're going to see the all-time highs. But for now, the risk is that we're going to see a bit of downward movement on risk assets. But just keep in mind, the back of your mind, this is corrective move higher. So we're going to see an impulsive move to the downside, much lower oil prices in the future, sometime in 2025 with the big peace push, the big peace initiative that I think Trump is going to push forward. So we can kind of see where the markets are going and our charts align with it. It's really, really nice. Yeah, I think that's where we'll finish for today. I'm looking forward to later in the week. As I say, we'll go through the economic projections, but I think actually we're fairly clear. We can see from these assets pretty well where things are going for the time being. So let's just keep an eye on things. I hope that's been helpful. Thanks everybody for listening, and look forward to catching up later this week. Thanks again. Bye for now.
The great Matt Dixon. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with Matt on the first show, the first Impact Money show that we did. I think it was December 19th in 2023. I asked my friend Matt Dixon and my friend Joshua Hawley to join me on the show. And I said, hey, I want you guys to join the inaugural show. We will do, whatever, and this and that. And of course, Joshua Hawley has a investment bank in Dubai. Of course, he wants to get back over here. Him and I were in Dubai talking. The next 10 years, we both believe it's going to be absolutely amazing here in the U.S. It is really all about the U.S. right now. Not all about the U.S., but big time money here. Very industrious place. And of course, Matt says, Bruce, I'll join you every day. After we did that show, Matt says. And so I said, well, man, that sounds pretty great. And so we have been doing the show ever since together, over a year now. It's been an absolute pleasure. We are adding some more TV stations. I've talked about it quite a bit. Now I'm really engulfed in our new inauguration, the DC Inauguration Week, and I will be for the next week or two. But after that, full steam ahead, putting together if you want to be involved, putting together some money for these TV stations buyout. We're buying a number of TV stations. Super excited about it. We will be the largest crypto-friendly network in the world, easily in the United States, but definitely in the world as well. So super excited about that. And of course, hats off to Matt Dixon. Thanks always taking the time to join the show. And as well, if you can't join, doing a recording for us. Just to give you a little bit of update, Bitcoin has dropped below 1,000. It seems to be bouncing a little bit now. It spiked down to about 100,400. Seems to be bouncing around a little bit now. Probably will. I mean, who knows? It is highly volatile assets. We talk about it all the time. Okay. And when they pump up so high, markets don't just go one way. So you want to trade carefully. You want to wait for your right moment and then make the trade when you are convinced. Matt and I, we normally don't make a trade unless we're like almost absolutely positive that we can win the trade. And, Matt said that you don't want to just trade just to trade. Okay. You want to win the trade. That's the whole point, is to win the trade. Right. And actually, it's really great when you can win the trade in like 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, that's when you're really, really happy, right? Or as it goes, you do a really good trade and then you watch it, whether it's going down, you're doing a short and it's going up, and you just watch it and you can move your stop loss along with you, or just be there with the trade and then get out of it when you want to and let it go. As he says quite a bit of times, you want to set up a trade where you have an infinite or a large amount of win percentage, right? You could win a lot. Like he was talking about Solana, a short from here from Solana could end up pretty well. He was saying target on the downturn for Solana being 175. It's at 213 right now. And actually, just to talk about this here briefly, his top his target top was about 216. Matt's target top was about 216. It went up to 223. Now, a lot of factors come in here when you have a guy like, but I mean, that's pretty close to the target. Sort of my point is, when you have a guy like Michael Saylor coming in and buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin at a time, that's a remarkable situation. That is really something else. So this DC inaugural week, super excited about it, guys. I have the people coming in. The sponsors are coming in. I actually can confirm that they will be on the website soon. Greg Chu and his QPQ AG company, they will be joining us as an official sponsor. I have another one lined up. We'll be able to as well. You're going to be able to talk to Greg, talk about what they're doing. They're doing some very exciting things in the world of cryptocurrency. And guys, it's not just really the world of cryptocurrency. It's distributed ledger, right? It's It's the blockchain technology that really has changed the world. It gave power back. It gave power to the people. Everybody has this code that is currently impossible to hack. It's currently impossible to counterfeit. If you have a Bitcoin or one of these coins, it's impossible to counterfeit them. And so we are able, common people are able to pass this back and forth without fear of something nefarious happening. And we took the control back from the bankers. If you wanted to send, even $10,000 over to Romania or something like this, you had to go to SWIFT and you had to do this and blah, and they, relying on the bankers, and they have a float days and they get to do all this stuff. Now you just send it, man. You want to send 100,000, you want to send $1 million, 20 million, 100 million, you want to send $5,000, whatever, you just send it. It is crazy. It is really, we changed the world. And that's why I talk about it all the time. The monetary revolution is one of the reasons why Trump got elected. It's one of the reasons why he got reelected. Him embracing the Bitcoin community, the crypto community. And that's why our MAGA Maha Bitcoin inaugural event is so cool. I'll just pull up that website real quick before I go. Here it is right here. So it's dcinaugural.com. You can go and check it out, okay? With the MAGA Maha ball, the Bitcoin ball. It's a celebration of President Donald J. Trump's historic victory, January 19th. It's 18th and 19th at the National Harbor, MGM National Harbor Hotel and Casino. So we have a 2-day conference on the 18th and the 19th. And you can come, you can speak, you can come and meet everybody. A lot of people are excited to come. On the evening of the 19th, we have the Bitcoin inaugural ball. If you've been around me or you've been to some of my events, we don't screw around. We throw some very, very nice events. Usually galas. This is ball. Okay. Super excited about it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It will be wonderful, wonderful event. And then on the 20th, we're all going to get up and go to Donald Trump's inauguration. And then, of course, there'll be some other events that night as well. Our event's the 18th and 19th. And then we're all going to go to Trump's inauguration. This historic event, unbelievable historic event. The entire world, I can tell you one great thing that putting this DC inaugural week together has done, of course, working with Avilio Medina, a good friend of mine. I may record a segment with him and have him on the show tomorrow. I think that's kind of my plan. He doesn't wake up that early. He's a Miami guy, I said, why don't you come on at 6 a.m.? He goes, I don't know about that, man. 6 a.m. So I know you're Miami. Oh, no, I'm not Miami. He said, I'm not Miami. I'm working. Okay. I know how it is, man. I lived in Miami too. I know how it is. It's a different life. New York is the same way. People are up late. One of the great things about putting together this DC inaugural week is, of course, touching base with a lot of people I haven't talked to in a while, reaching out, see if they want to be involved. And I can tell you that all over the world, people are super excited about Trump coming into office, whether they like him or they don't like him, or they like Trump, they don't like Trump, they like Elon, they don't like Elon, all that stuff. They're super excited about it. And they all say, whatever you think about anything, you got to admit that the last 4 years were a complete and utter disaster. It's an interesting situation to be in because, guys, in 2015, 2016, it was not a popular thing to do to support Trump. Maybe it's still not popular. A lot of people still don't like the guy, but it wasn't popular at all. I had my Global Boost business, it's still, of course, Global Boost Media. We have the coin and everything else, blockchain, but it wasn't popular. But I decided that if Trump didn't win, that we were in trouble. That if Hillary Clinton got in there, we were in trouble. Just like most people decided with Kamala, right? We're in trouble. It doesn't really matter what I do with my company. If Trump doesn't win, it's not going to be successful, or it's going to be severely handicapped. I'm going to be in bad shape. And so I threw caution to the wind. And if you've been following me on X, I know a lot of people have, and I follow them too. And I just threw caution to the wind, and I walked away. I walked away from Global Boost for a little bit, and I just focused on campaigning and getting Trump elected. And people didn't, people held it against me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like an easy thing to do. This time around, everybody's on board. Everybody's on board. Everyone's like, wow, that was rough. Nobody really, you had, the 2020 election was very questionable at best. Okay. It was wrought with irregularities. All right. However you want to say it. And then we get this guy who I've constantly said was just acting or not acting. He's been a total and complete disaster. Craziness. Anyway, that is gonna be it for me. But anyway, the point is that it's now totally different. Everybody's on board. They're on board with this movement, with this with making America great again and making the world great again. Remember, the US dollar is the world reserve currency. And so if the US dollar is inflating, if people are getting inflation, everybody is suffering. And you're taking that off the backs of everybody around the world. So, all right, that's it. Great show today. Super excited about it. I will be back on in a few hours as well, streaming again in the morning. It is always a pleasure. I love you guys. Here we go. Media. Here we go. Boom, boom. If you want, I'll put that banner up here. DC Inaugural. DCinaugural.com is the website if you want to come. If you are thinking about coming to the inauguration of Donald Trump, let me tell you that you should do it. You absolutely should do it. That is maybe the most important event in our lifetimes. It might be the most historic event that you can go to. You should come. If you join us at the MGM for the conference and ball, that's great. If you don't, that's fine, but you should come to Donald Trump's inauguration. It's going to be awesome. Probably be cold. Maybe there'll be some snow on the ground. Who knows? But it's going to be absolutely awesome. Always a pleasure, guys. I am out of here.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.